Hello, this is Josh Belk with the Belk on Business podcast. I appreciate you spending a few moments with me and taking the time to listen today. Super pumped. Today, I've actually changing a little bit with the recording. I have my son Ben actually behind the camera, and it's kind of a cool opportunity for me to kind of have a place and a seat here in the company where my son's able to kind of take over some of the content production and the media side of things, and he's getting trained by a phenomenal consultant, and can't thank him enough. So today, just got back in town. Actually, yesterday morning, really early yesterday morning from Disney, and it's one of my favorite places to go. Going down to the Disney World parks down in Lake Buena Vista, Orlando area. And when I was younger, I always kind of had a dream myself to go and work for Disney. But of course, life happens, and ended up kind of starting my own business, and got to basically go and pursue another one of the dreams that I had of starting my own business, and have been able to start a few businesses. Some of them have succeeded, others have not. But when you go down to Disney, one word that you hear a lot is the word dream. I jotted down here a quote that I read while I was down there that Walt Disney said. It said, "All dreams come true if we have the courage to pursue them." And of course, if any of you guys are familiar with Disney, they kind of a phrase you see all over the place at the parks is a place where dreams come true. And I love the word dreams. I love the thought of dreaming, but dreaming most of the time simply isn't enough. When I was down at Epcot, and Epcot is one of the four parks that they have down there, four main parks that they have down there, and we were walking through on Saturday morning, this last Saturday morning, and went through the America Pavilion, which is kind of right in the center of the World Showcase in Epcot, and as we were walking through, there were I think 3 or 4 young ladies, I would say probably maybe in their 20s, and they stood in front of the America Pavilion, and they stood there, and they had their thumbs down in front of the pavilion, and they took a picture of it. And I stood there, and I couldn't help but kind of make a little bit of a comment to the young ladies as I walked by. Very frustrating that, and whether or not and maybe it was from a place of political dissatisfaction. I have no idea, whatever the case may be. But obviously they were there, and they were unhappy about something, and they took a picture. I guess they probably put it out on social media to be cute or to make a point. I don't know. And then it wasn't but a few minutes later we went inside, and we heard the Voices of Liberty, which is an a cappella group that sings there a few times a day, and we sat around in the circle, and of course we heard this beautiful music sung by these ladies and men. And as I sat there and I kind of looked off to the side, I saw an elderly lady in a wheelchair, and she began to weep. And just very obviously overwhelmed with kind of the moment, and kind of here just a few minutes earlier we had young people who just seemed very upset about something and maybe not happy with something in America, and then a few minutes later I see this lady who's obviously just very overwhelmed with gratitude of having the opportunity to experience living life here in the U.S. On Thursday, which was Thanksgiving Day this past week, we actually went to the France Pavilion, and we sat there and had lunch, and we were there, and our waiter's name was James, phenomenal waiter, and we were there, and it's kind of usually something I enjoy doing when I go into these pavilions. I used to like to try to pronounce names and read the menu and try to speak their language. And kind of struck up a little bit of a brief dialogue with our waiter, and I asked James, how long have you been in the country? And he said, well, I came here about 5 months ago. And I said, well, how are you liking the U.S.? And he goes, I love it. It is a place that is a land of opportunity. And he used that word opportunity. And so so kind of through all of this, and kind of gets my mind running a little bit as I knew I was going to be recording today these podcasts, I think of the word dreams, and I think of the word opportunities. And for all of us living in the U.S., we have limitless opportunities. So we can dream, but in order to be able to fulfill our dreams, there needs to be an opportunity there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of countries that you can go in this world. You don't have opportunities. You don't have the opportunity to be able to pursue your dreams. But here, fortunately, in the U.S., we do. And for most of us, our opportunities are really limited by our own mindset. When I think of the limitations on opportunities, it's usually inside of our own head. And I kind of jotted down just six different kind of limitations that we can put onto ourselves as it relates to pursuing our opportunities. First, I think is a fear mindset. For a lot of people, they're just simply scared. They're scared of failure. They think about what will other people think of me. I go and I pursue this opportunity that I have. I have this dream to go and do whatever. Maybe start a business, whatever it may be. And if I go and I start this business, maybe I just don't have it. Maybe I'm just not good enough. What will other people think of me if this business doesn't succeed? They'll view me as a failure. And so it's basically just being scared. It's a fear mindset. And believe you me, every business owner that's gone out to start a business, they don't go in saying, they may act like they're all confident. Believe you me, there's a little bit of a nervousness and being a little bit scared of whether or not and fearful on whether the business is going to succeed. Other people just go ahead and push through and go ahead and pursue. Other people use that as a wall and they quit. Second, I think, is an entitlement mindset. And this is kind of a mindset that the world owes me something. And you know what? If that's going to limit you. If you think that the world owes you something, guess what? You get into business, you're going to find out very, very quickly that the world owes you absolutely nothing. And beyond that, for a lot of people, they simply don't care. For your competitors, they'll run you over. And so you need to if you kind of walk into it thinking that you're entitled to something or the world owes you something, you're not going to succeed. Third is having an employee mindset. And I was on Facebook here about a month ago, and one of my quote unquote friends, and he's not a friend. It's most of our Facebook friends are simply casual acquaintances, and kind of just scrolling through, and he had this little meme on there that said the boss makes a dollar, I make a dime. That's why I poop on company time. Okay, and I kind of scrolled through this, and he was trying to be funny. And it's kind of one of those things that obviously this person is very limited by their mindset, and kind of failing to realize that, you know what, when you go into business as a business owner, that your employees get paid first. That person who's out there and they have that job of working 9 to 5 or whatever those hours are, they get to go home at night. And they get to watch Netflix, enjoy dinner with their family, while many times a business owner is still taking calls, still doing paperwork. They're the ones that are up at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to work numbers and figure out how to make payroll. But a person who walks into an opportunity with that type of a mindset, of an employee mindset, instead of as a true entrepreneur mindset, realizing that this is going to take a ton of work, you're not going to be able to see your dreams come true. You're not going to be able to fulfill the opportunity that's there. Fourth is simply a mindset of disbelief, just truly believing that you just don't have it. And that's the case. If you truly believe that you don't have it, guess what? You don't. Okay, so that opportunity is going to be limited by disbelief. Fifth, and I think maybe most importantly, is a lack of discipline. Most people just don't have the hard enough of a work ethic or a diligence to be able to pursue their opportunities. And then lastly is an education or a skill set limitation. And unfortunately, I mean, there's kind of a lot of times here nowadays that people are kind of pushing back against traditional type of education, and that's true in some realms. But if we're going to succeed, you do need to educate yourself. You're going to have to put the hard work as far as learning and being able to obtain the skill set that you need. You may be really good at doing something, but you're going to have to be good at doing a lot of other things as well that's going to accompany your specific skill set in order to be able to successfully pursue that opportunity. So just a few thoughts today on dreams, on opportunities, and hope this brought value to you. Maybe you consider subscribing to the Belk on Business podcast. I'm Josh Belk. I appreciate you listening. Have a good day.